I noticed the silence first. Not the peaceful kind. The wrong kind. The kind that makes a room feel hollow, like something important has been removed and the air hasn't adjusted yet. I was lying on my mattress with the afternoon light slanting across the wall, my head throbbing in a way that didn't match waking up from a nap. My phone was gone. My wallet too. I sat up slowly and felt the ache bloom behind my eyes, the memory lagging a few seconds behind my body. Then it snapped into place, his face above mine, red and unfamiliar, my own voice raised for once. And then nothing. The laptop bag was still there. The TV. The things that couldn't be turned into quick cash. But the envelope was gone. The one I'd hidden in a shoebox in the closet. Under winter clothes I never wore. Years of saving. Cash I didn't trust in a bank because my father had taught me explicitly that institutions couldn't be trusted. Only family. I checked my email from my old phone, the backup I kept in the kitchen drawer. There it was. A charge notification from my debit card, one I hadn't used in months. A flight booking. 2 tickets. A beachfront resort. It took me an hour to stand up. When he came back that night, sunburned already somehow, whistling as he dropped his keys on the counter, I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I asked one question, carefully. Did you take it? He looked at me like I'd asked something boring. You weren't using it? He said. And don't start acting like a victim. I raised you. Everything you have came from me. I told him. He hit me. He shrugged. You. Got in my face. I asked about the money again. That's when he said it. Not loud, not angry. Almost conversational. I never saw you as a son. You're just a walking wallet. Always have been. The words rearranged something inside me. Not shattered, settled. Like a puzzle piece finally clicking into place after years of being forced. I left that night with nothing but my backup phone and a jacket. I slept on a coworker's couch. I didn't call the police. Not yet. There was a strange stillness in me, like my emotions had gone into storage. I told myself I needed time, that I just needed to get through the week. What I actually needed was distance. As the days passed, memories started surfacing uninvited. Times he'd borrowed money and forgotten to pay it back. The way he'd introduced me to people as the responsible one, never as his kid. How every kindness came with a ledger I hadn't known I was signing. I went back to work with a bruise fading along my jawline. I told people I'd walked into a cabinet. I told myself the same thing in a way. Accidents happen. Families are complicated. Then my bank froze my account. The fraud department left a voicemail. Calm. Polite. They needed to verify some transactions and a change of address request. That was new. I hadn't changed my address. I went into the branch during my lunch break, still half expecting someone to tell me this was all a misunderstanding. The woman at the desk asked for my ID, typed for a while, then frowned, not dramatically, just enough. These withdrawals, she said, turning the screen slightly. They were made. In person? I laughed once, short and wrong. That's not possible. She looked at me carefully. The ID presented was a state-issued card. Same name as yours. Different photo. Something cold slid through my chest. He'd done this before, I realized. Maybe not with me. Maybe with other people. He'd always known exactly how far to go without triggering alarms. Until now. The bank manager joined us. Then someone from compliance. The language changed, more formal, more precise. I didn't have to accuse anyone. I just answered questions. Dates. Distances. Injuries. When I mentioned the assault, the room shifted. Not emotionally. Procedurally. They called it identity theft. They called it felony fraud. They asked if I wanted to file a police report. I said yes, because for the first time, the word felt less like betrayal and more like oxygen. The officer who took my statement didn't rush me. He didn't ask why I waited. He just wrote things down, occasionally asking me to repeat a date or clarify a sequence. When I showed him the flight confirmation email, he nodded once and made a note. We'll handle it, he said, not as a promise. As a process. My father called me from the resort 2 days later. I let it go to voicemail. His next call came from an unfamiliar number. Then another. Then a text, furious and disjointed, accusing me of ruining his life, of overreacting, of forgetting who fed me when I was a kid. I didn't respond. The arrest happened quietly. No dramatic knock that I witnessed. No scene. I found out because a detective followed up to confirm some details and mentioned, almost as an aside, that my father had been taken into custody upon returning through customs. The altered ID triggered an alert. The fraud charges stacked quickly once everything was laid out. I sat on my bed afterward, holding the phone, waiting for something, relief, maybe, satisfaction. What I felt instead was a dull, spreading sadness. Not for him. For the years I'd spent thinking endurance was the same as love. The legal process dragged on. I attended one hearing. He didn't look at me. His lawyer did. My name was spoken by strangers in a room that smelled faintly of disinfectant and old paper. The judge spoke in a voice that carried no history, no family context, just facts. That was the moment control shifted, not with anger, not with revenge, but with neutrality. The system didn't care that he was my father. It didn't care that I'd been obedient. It only cared about what could be proven. He took a plea deal. I moved apartments. Changed my number. Opened a new bank account under my own name. With extra security questions I chose myself. I started therapy, though I hated the word at first. It felt indulgent. But sitting in that quiet room each week, I learned how much of my personality had been shaped around avoiding his disappointment. Sometimes I still catch myself doing it, apologizing too quickly, over-explaining, offering value before being asked. There was no celebration at the end, no moment where I felt powerful, just a growing sense of steadiness, of standing somewhere that belonged to me. I don't know what my father tells people now. I don't try to find out. What matters is that, when I look at my reflection, I don't see a wallet anymore. I see a person who survived being misnamed and finally chose his own.